Biur Mishnah Bet, explanation for Mishnah Bet. Because of the halacha, because of the law that we explained in a previous Mishnah, Muvat kan halacha kayotze ba binyan pirot shvi'it. We're going to talk about shvi'it. We already did shvi'it, so it's going to be easy this time. V'yesh lakdim. So this is a fruit of the 7th year that you're not allowed to eat if they're not in the field. If they're in the field, you're allowed to eat them. If they're not in the field, you're not allowed to eat it. In other words, in the 7th year, your field of cucumbers grows, wild cucumbers. So when they grow, you're allowed to eat. Like we said, you're allowed to take for 3 seudot. Remember, or even for more, you can add to pickle or whatever you want. But once there's no more cucumbers in the field, you have to bring all your cucumbers back out from the house on the 7th year. Okay?
You took so much.
Yeah, if you took so much. V'yesh le'akdim kan, we have to explain, מה שלמדנו מסכת שביעית, whatever we learned in the מסכת שביעית, שאם כנס אדם בשביעית לתוך ביתו מין ממיני הפירות, that if you took a certain kind of vegetable into your house, מותר לו לאכול אותם מאותם הפירות, you're allowed to eat from those fruits, כל זמן שמין זה מצוי לחיה בשדה, as long as the animals in the field have access to it. Yeah. אבל אם קלה אותו מין בשדה, but once there's no more cucumbers in the street, אינו מצוי שם לחיות, the wild animals cannot eat it anymore, חייב הוא לבאר מה שיש בביתו מאותו המין. He's not allowed to have in his house any of those cucumbers anymore. שנאמר, because it says, ולבהמתך ולחיה אשר בארצך, it says to your domestic animal and to the wild animals that are in your land, תהיה כל תבואתה לאכול. In the 7th year, that's the food for them to eat. And if you're taking it from them, you're not allowed to have כל זמן שחיה אוכלת בשדה. It means that as long as there's enough food in the field for the animals to eat, בהמתך אוכלת בבית, you're allowed to feed it to your animals in the house. קלה לחיה שבשדה. Once there's no more food for the wild animals for the field, קלה לבהמתך שבבית. You're not allowed to feed your animals in your house anymore. כן שנינו שם, we also mentioned over there, 3 ארצות לביאור. That there are 3 different countries for ביאור. We're going to separate it into 3 areas. יהודה ועבר הירדן והגליל. So in other words, why are we saying it? Because the fruits used to mature in different stages. It's different climates. There are different climates. So it was a different date when it was finished from the street in one area, and different date. So it depends when you live until which animals. So this is the example. So if you live, for example, in Yehuda, and there's no more food in Yehuda, but there is some more cucumbers in the Galil, since you live in Yehuda, that's it. For you, it's over. But the Galil are still allowed to eat. The Galil people are still allowed to eat. You're not allowed to eat. So they're allowed to eat.
It's by
climate.
area.
It's by climate.
Over
that's right. So they divided the land of Israel into 3 climates. We're going to see why it's important soon. יהודה בעבר, כלומר, שארץ ישראל מחלקת ל3 ארצות, that the land of Israel is going to be divided into 3 climates, לעניין ביאור פירות שביעית, when it comes to remove from your house the fruit of the 7th year. שאם כלו הפירות של אחד המינים בארץ אחת, כגון ביהודה, if the fruits are finished from the land of יהודה, אף על פי שעדיין מצויות פירות אלו בארץ אחרת, even though the fruit is still can be found in the other countries, for example, the גליל, כגון בגליל, חייבים בני יהודה לבאר אותו מן בבתיהם. Those who live in the climate of יהודה need to remove their cucumbers from their houses. אבל בני הגליל אינם חייבים ברוב, but since the גליל have still produce in their climate, they can stay there. משנתנו עוסקת, our Mishnah is going to deal, this is the case. במי שמביא פירות שביעית ממקום שכלו למקום שעדיין לא כלו או להפך. So this is the problem. You live in Yehuda. You make some cucumber salads. Yeah? And now you go to the Galil. In other words, you are not allowed to eat anymore in the Yehuda. The date is over. There's no more cucumbers in the field. But in the Galil, there are. So can you... Now you went from Pesach. For Pesach, you brought dishes from Yehuda to your friend in the Galil because you're going to do Pesach with him. Let's say, for example, are you allowed now to eat those cucumbers according to, because the custom in the Galil is that they do eat cucumbers. So are you allowed to eat your cucumbers in the Galil?
But you bring your cucumber from Yehuda.
Yeah, that's right. That's the or the opposite.
Yeah.
Or the opposite. Okay. So that's the example. The custom. Since we're talking about customs, that's what we're going to continue to talk about. Okay. כיוצא בו. So it's similar to this. בדומה לדין ששנינו במשנה הקודמת, just like the law that we learned in the previous Mishnah, המוליך פירות שביעית, if one takes fruits of the seventh year, פירות שגדלו בשנת השמיטה, fruits that grew in the year of שמיטה, ממקום שכלו, from a place there's no more cucumber, לחיה מן השדה, in other words, the animals in the field don't have any more anything to eat. שחייבים שם לבערה מן הבית. Over there, in such places, you need to remove all these cucumbers from your house. והולכים זה, והוליכם זה, and you take them למקום שלא כלו לחיה מן השדה. Now you take this cucumber to a place that the animals still eat in the field. ובני אותו מקום אוכלים עדיין את הפירות הללו המכונסים בבתיהם. And those people are eating those fruits that they still have in their houses. Or the opposite. המוליך פירות, if you take fruits ממקום שלא כלו, you take a place from, in your place there's plenty cucumbers in the field, and you go to a place where there's no cucumbers in the field, are you allowed to eat it? There's cucumbers over there. למקום שכלו, חייב לבאר. In both cases, he needs to burn them. שנותנים עליו חומרי המקום שיצא משם, וחומרי המקום שהלך לשם. Exactly like in our case. I don't care. We're going to put the stringencies of both places upon you. We're not going to allow you, whichever case you want. You want to get from this place to that place, or from that place to this place. In one case, we're going to say you're like the place that you're going to, and in the other case, we're going to say you're like the place that you left. Because why? People are going to see you eat cucumbers, and it's going to cause what? Strife. It's going to cause strife.
But I don't understand. How is it that the guy can still keep those cucumbers? Because the minute it finishes in the field, now that guy has to חייב לבאר. He can't take it to באר שבע. נגמר. You have מלפפונים in his position, you have to לבאר אותם.
Good question. So I'm telling you now from what I remember from the Gemara. I'm not sure this what I'm telling you is correct. I think over here the Gemara actually asks you a question. It's not the case, like you said, he needs to remove them. So the Gemara says we're talking about a case where you pickled a few vegetables together in a jar.
Oh.
You pickled cucumbers, this and this and this. And the question is the question is if the cucumber is nullified in the other vegetables or not nullified in the other vegetables. But even then, I think that's what the Gemara is going to say. I'm not sure he's going to discuss this. He might address it over here. We'll see. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda says, אומרים לו, we said to him, צא והווה לך אף אתה. Yeah. No, the opposite.
What?
They say if somebody is going to complain, there's a machloket, like we don't have cucumbers over here. Why are you eating cucumbers? So he says, you want cucumbers? You know where I brought it from? I brought it from a place there's cucumbers. If you want, you can also go over there and pick it up. What do you want from me? Don't complain. That's what it says. That's Rabbi Yehuda said. Yeah, the Chachamim says don't do it at all. Rabbi Yehuda says, we're going to see what Rabbi Yehuda means soon. Yeah, okay. בגמרא מפרשים את דברי רבי יהודה בדרכים שונות. The Gemara is going to explain the words of Rabbi Yehuda in many ways. ומפרשי המשנה נקטו את פירושו של רב אשי. Okay, we're going to let's take the example of Rav Ashi over here. It's going to make it just one example because there's many. It looks like the Gemara has a lot of explanation of what it means. We're going to just take one explanation of Rav Ashi. What's the explanation? שאף רבי יהודה סובר that even Rabbi Yehuda says שנותנים עליו חומרי המקום שיצא משם ושהלך לשם. It says we give him both stringency. The stringency that he left and the stringency that he come to. In other words, whichever way we're going to tell him you're not allowed to eat the cucumbers. אלא שנחלקו כאן רבי יהודה וחכמים, but over here we're talking about a special case. He's taking it out. I remembered something from the Gemara years ago. במחלוקת ששנינו במסכת שביעית. This is a disagreement that we had in מסכת שביעית. Actually, you know what? It's not even a Gemara. I thought I remembered from the Gemara. I don't remember from the Gemara, I remember from the Mishnah. There's actually a Mishnah like this. I thought I remembered from the Gemara. It's not the Gemara, it's a Mishnah that we did together. What's the Mishnah, if we remember? הכובש שלושה כבשים. It says if you have in a jar, you marinated, you pickled 3 types of fruit, cucumbers, tomatoes, and onions. בחבית אחת, in one barrel, בחומץ ובמי מלח, רבי אליעזר says, אוכלים על הראשון. It says you eat on the first one. What does it mean you eat on the first one? כלומר, משעה שקלה מין אחד מהם, it says as soon as one of those 3 kinds are finished from the field, that's it. You're not allowed to eat from this pickle jar anymore. It's done. נאסרו כולם. They're all prohibited. Everything. Even the tomatoes. Why? It gives the taste. You have the cucumber taste in the tomatoes. That's the idea. What do you mean? You're eating cucumbers infused tomatoes. ואפילו שני המינים האחרים שלא כלו וחייב לבאר הכל. This is according to Rabbi Eliezer. This is what Rabbi Eliezer said. But Rabbi Yoshua says, אף על האחרון. It says you don't have to go on the first one. You can go, as long as there's one of those kinds still in the field, you're allowed to eat the whole thing. כל זמן שמין אחד מהם מצוי בשדה, as long as the one of those kinds can be found in the field, מותר לאכול מכולם. You're allowed to eat from all of them. That's actually hard to understand. And we have a third opinion. רבן גמליאל אומר, and רבן גמליאל says, כל שכלה מינו מן השדה, everything that you don't have that kind from the field, יבאר מינו מן הבית. He's going to take that kind from the house. In other words, he says, take the cucumber from the things and throw them out. The other ones, though, are still allowed, even though they have cucumbers infused in them. That's the difference between Rabban Gamliel and the one before it. Yeah. והנה באותו עניין נחלקו גם התנאים שמשנתנו. So they're talking about pickled 3 things. They're not talking about what שתנא קמא מקל כרבי יהושע. The תנא קמא is going to be lenient כרבי יהושע. שהואיל וכל המינים כבושים בחבית אחת, so since all the 3 kinds are in one barrel, מותר לאכול מן המינים שכלו על סמך אותו המין שלא כלה. It says since you make it one dish now, it's a different dish, as long as one of them is in the field, I'm allowed to eat the whole thing. וכן היא משמעות דבריו. And this is what he says. המוליך ממקום שלא כלו למקום שכלו, if you take it from one place that he didn't finish to a place that they did finish, לגמרי, היינו כל המינים שבחביתו. He's talking about all the kinds in the חבית are finished. Yeah? Then you חייב לבאר. Only when all the kinds are not over there, then you need to destroy it. אבל אם לא כלו כולם אלא מקצתם, but if just a few of them are finished and a few of them are there, אוכל אף מהמינים שכלו על סמך המין שלא כלה. You're allowed to eat from the ones that did not finish on the ones that did finish. רבי יהודה אומר, רבי יהודה says, אומרים לו לבעל החבית, they tell to him, to the owner of the field, צא והבא לך אף אתה. It says, what are you talking about? You missing? You want to eat cucumbers also? Go to the Galil, bring some cucumber from the Galil. I know you don't have cucumbers over here, but in Eretz Israel there's still cucumbers. Go buy from over there. What do you want from my life? כלומר, צא והבא לך גם מהשדה, כל אותם המינים הכבושים בחביתך. וכיוון שלא תמצא מהם בשדה, and since you can't find them in the field, הרי חייב אתה לבאר אותם המינים שכלו. Since you cannot find it in your field, you need to burn them. כלומר, which means שרבי יהודה סובר כרבן גמליאל. He holds like Rabban Gamliel. That what does Rabban Gamliel hold? שאותו מין שכלה מן השדה חייב לבארו מן הבית, מן החבית. Rabban Gamliel says, take those ones that you זהו and throw them out. Okay. יש מבארים, there are those who explain, שרבי יהודה בא להקל כאן בעניין פירות שביעית. רבי יהודה came to be lenient when it comes to the 7th year fruit. והוא סובר שאין נותנים עליו חומרי המקום שיצא משם וחומרי המקום שהלך לשם. You don't put the stringencies on it of one place and the other place. שכן, המוליך פירות ממקום שלא כלו למקום שכלו, because he says, if you take cucumber from a place there's no more cucumbers to, no, for a place that there is cucumbers to a place that there's no cucumbers, הרי הוא יוכל לומר, he can say, למי שמוכיחו על שוחל את הפירות, to anybody who says to him, why are you eating the fruits? צא והבא לך אף אתה ממקום שהבאתים. It says you have the right to also to go get cucumbers from over there. ותמצא שלא כלו שם. You're going to find that I came from a place that there's still cucumbers. What do you want from my life? ואם הוליך ממקום שכלוא למקום שלא כלוא, and if you took it from a place that they are finished to a place that they are not finished, הרי לא כלוא כאן, over here, they still have them here. I'm going to according to the custom of this place, what do you want me? I'm allowed to go according to this place. לפי פירוש זה, אין גורסים בדברי רבי יהודה התיבות אומרים לו. And then you don't say the words, the Mishnah doesn't say the words, we say it to him. איה מלאכת שלמה, שפגשתם בשלושה ימים, okay. We'll stop over here.
You know, it's very strange that they want to, if you took into your house, let's say you have big eyes, you took, I don't know, 50 pounds of apples, you took it in your house.
You made apple pies.
Huh?
You made apple cakes.
No.
Dry cakes.
You took this and you put it, and suddenly you see the בשדה כלוא, למה היו הרבה אלה. עכשיו יש לך 50 קילו תפוחים בבית. Why don't you take it out to the sadeh? Why don't
That's levaer. That means levaer.
levaer.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't take it out to the field, you have to burn it. It means you take levaer means to remove it from your house.
You have to.
Just like chametz, same thing. Yeah, levaer. The word biur, yeah, it's to eliminate it. Now there's many levels of elimination. You can eliminate by removing the substance completely, by burning. You can eliminate by feeding it. You can eliminate by grinding it and throwing it to the wind, like we said with chametz. Yeah, throwing it into the sea. There's many ways of, but the word levaer means to consume.
So
I don't care how you consume it. Yeah.